Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to today's Fierce Friday with the Million Mom Movement. My name is Rebecca Johns. I am a holistic health practitioner, an ordained minister, and a proud mom to two boys in Flint, Michigan. And I'm proud to be a council member with the Million Mom Movement and ready to introduce you today to an amazing lineup. We have Jody Parker in the house today, who's going to be leading an interview with the amazing CJ. And if you just give me a moment, I will turn it over to her, but I have somebody very special that we're going to talk to first. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Fierce Friday movement, if you will, this segment of what we do with the Million Mom Movement is a special gift that was put together in the mastermind of Stephanie Dawn, our council chair. And this Fierce Friday is an opportunity for all of us to come together in the Million Mom Movement, in the field of Purium brand partners, and listen, the general public, if you're saving this for people who you think are already inside the ranks, if you will, don't. This is for everyone in the world to become empowered with information and education about food and the food systems, about economy and sovereign financial living, and an opportunity for you to see where you are with your level of interest for your own life and lifestyle, but quite possibly to link arms with us. And Fierce Fridays, we take on hot topics. We go over opportunities for expanding your own life and life purpose and passion and health and wealth. And we do great things like share our petition for glyphosate, getting glyphosate out of foods, let you know about the Million Mom Movement opportunities for scholarships to become not just healthy, but lucrative financially. And so today, the beautiful woman that I would love to introduce to you to share our Million Mom Movement pledge is our very own chair, Stephanie Dawn.
Beautiful.
Stephanie, oh, absolutely. I was going to show you off a little bit.
Okay.
Can I show you off a little bit?
Sure.
I love to show Stephanie off. Okay, so Stephanie spent years as a sacred birth coach. And why I like to point at that, even though she's in a kind of quasi-retirement, is because she brings the sacred birth space to the Million Mom Movement. She brings the respect for life. She brings the love of people. She brings the service to the Creator and an interest for people to live pragmatically, practically, really well, successful lives. She is an effective brand partner with Purium. Stephanie, what rank are you at right now? I apologize.
I'm in
which diamond?
Blue.
All right, I know she's running for red, so I'm already decided that in my head. But just an absolute picture of success when it comes to ministering to people to be successful and well with mindset and emotion and the healthy living that goes along with it. So please help me welcome Stephanie Dawn.
Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks for all the favorite days of the week, because we get to here together in sacred circle and we get to feel arts and our passion and the community that we're part of as the Mom Movement. So I want to read you our pledge, which if you're not familiar with the pledge, please go to www.millionmommovement.info and learn more about everything that Rebecca mentioned. I pledge to defend the health of my family and of myself. I pledge to reject GMOs, artificial ingredients, trans fats, and over-processed foods. I pledge to educate myself, read labels, and lead by example. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health of future generations. I am committed to sharing this mission until we are 1 million moms strong. So that's my personal commitment. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by being business forward. So we decided about a month or so ago that we wanted to have the final Friday of every month be business forward. So in service to that, that's what we're doing here today. I'm really excited to get that going. But before we do, we have a special surprise. There's a woman on our council here who is, she's going to be interviewing Raven today. Her name is Jody Parker, and it's her birthday tomorrow, you guys. We love you so much, Jody. I call her Dr. Jody because she is so woke. She is so on fire. If you don't follow her on Facebook, you need to follow Jody Parker. So without further ado, Rachel, will you please share our gift to Jody today?
Yes, of course. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and we adore you, Jody. Okay, can you all see it?
Yay, we got tears. Oh, thank you so much, Rachel, for putting that together for Jody. Jody, you are a fierce mom on a mission. I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you, to be on this council with you, and thank you for being here and for showing up in all the ways that you do. We love you.
You guys, you're not supposed to make me cry when I'm supposed to, you know, be professional. I'm so privileged to be a part of this movement and to work with the ladies on this council. And thank you so much for that super thoughtful, I'm like, there's my babies. And that's why I'm on the Million Mom Movement Council, right? Because I'm worried about, there's my babies. I love you guys. I love everybody who's jumping on here today. I'm so happy to see all your faces. And as Stephanie said, Fierce Friday is a time for us to come together and really support each other. And something that we've started doing is the hot topic for the week. And I'm going to share my screen because Dave Sandoval, who is the owner of Pyramid, you know what? I should ask really quick before I share my screen. Can you give me a 1 in the chat if this is your first time at Fierce Friday? And can you give me a 2 in the chat if you aren't actually a Pyrium brand partner, because it will change the way that I speak, because I don't want to repeat things if you already know it. But if you don't know it, I want to make sure. All right, so there are some new people here. Yay, I'm so happy to see you. So the Million Mom Movement, we think of it as the activism arm of Pyrium, which is a whole food, superfood nutrition company. And whoever invited you to this call, at the end of this, if you're interested in learning more about that aspect, the business aspect of Pyrium, please go to the person who invited you to this call and they can give you more information on that. So let's just get that out of the way so that everybody is honored in that way. And hot topics. So the owner of Pyrium, he's the co-owner, his name is Dave Sandoval, and he posted this article yesterday on Facebook, and he asked us to share this. And I will throw the link up in the chat as soon as I'm done doing this, but FDA must do more to regulate thousands of chemicals added to your food, petitioners say. And you can go through and read this. I'm not going to read it out loud to you. You're all big girls and boys, and you can do this yourself. But there's some pretty shocking things in here. We talk about glyphosate, which is sprayed on at least 75% of our food, if not more. And that's a big deal for us here at Pyrium because we have a product that can get it out, and we know how toxic it is to the body. But it's not the only thing. There are hundreds, up to 10,000 chemicals, can you see this? I'm gonna highlight it, which are allowed to be in our food, which are known endocrine disruptors, meaning they mess up your hormones. And when you're pregnant or when a child is little and their nutrition needs are really high, but their bodies are tiny. They are more affected by all these chemicals in our food, and it is affecting their IQ, which, if you look right here, this quote from the petitioner, sorry about that. We're talking about each child losing roughly 2% of her lifetime economic productivity on average, with a loss of 1 IQ point, or $20,000. And if you multiply that by the 4 million kids born each year, that's a lot of zeros and a huge impact on our economy. It's a huge impact on families, and it has a cumulative effect. And this is all coming from the whole idea that the better living through chemicals idea that came post World War II. And we are now learning here, so many years later, that there is no such thing as better living through chemicals, right? We need to eat just real food. And I find it fascinating that we have to label the real food. It's certified organic, it's glyphosate free, it's non-GMO, and we pay all this extra money for all the labels, when that should just be called food. And all the other stuff that is food-like products should be the ones that have the label. And so this is something that's really important to us, is that we have food that is sustainable and that can feed the billions that are on the planet right now. And that there's food equity, that everybody has access to all that food. And so I am going to turn this over to my very good friend and a mentor and a just inspiration to me, my friend CJ Liddle, who has been a sustainable organic permaculture farmer and herbalist in Hawaii, on Kauai actually, for the last 20 years. And for those of you who have been coming to the Million Mom Movement calls on Fierce Friday, you've heard about how Kauai, especially the quote unquote garden island, is the island where they are testing GMOs and testing these herbicides and pesticides. So this is something that is particularly close to her heart. She is a Red Diamond here with the company, and so she has turned her passion into dollars, which is a big part of the Million Mom Movement, because we believe in economic empowerment. So Raven, that's her nickname, and that's what I think of her as. I would love for you to come off mute, and I want you to share with us how we got here. I kind of did a little bit of the history here, but what are the problems in our food system right now as we speak?
Well, aloha everyone from the island of Kauai. Thank you so much, Jody Parker. It is truly an honor to be here with you, and I'm so grateful that we get to walk this path together. And I am even more grateful to Dave Sandoval and Amy Venner for seeing this food crisis coming 25 years ago. And for myself, I got into organic farming and herbology when I was about 18. I became a mom when I was 19. I had home births with my kids. I've been an herbalist. I've grown all my own food. I've lived completely off the grid because I grew up in Tempe, Arizona, and I am a byproduct of what considered to be the modern day conveniences. Talking about sodas and cereals and milk by the gallons. My parents didn't know what organic was. They knew that there was an organization called the FDA that was out there that was in place to protect people from things that could potentially harm our health. Well, what we know now, and thanks to Dave Sandoval for putting this link together, is that there is an invisible ingredient that is not labeled on any food that has been infiltrating our food supply for longer than we want to admit. And that chemical is called glyphosate. And I was first introduced to glyphosate back in, let me date myself here, back in 1995, when I was walking on a beach estuary and there were signs everywhere showing that they were spraying an invasive beach grass with glyphosate. And I was like, what is this? What is glyphosate? I had to go to the library. You guys remember like the Dewey Decimal System? We had to you got to go through the Rolodex to find a book that explains what glyphosate is. And that began my journey of understanding that this chemical is used pervasively and it's everywhere. It's in everything. It is unavoidable. And as we continue to go down the rabbit hole of that, we started realizing that if you have ever eaten anything that is wheat, corn, soy, or sugar, and that's just the main four, you've consumed this cancer-causing agent. And we know now that one exposure to glyphosate in the gut microbiome will kill your microvilli, and it basically makes it impossible for you to absorb nutrition. Wow, this is scary stuff. And I remember Cheerios as being the first food to feed our babies. This is so big on such a huge level. And this is where we have to take our health back. We have to understand, we have to educate, and we have to vote with our dollars. So for myself, being in Hawaii, living here where I can grow food 24/7, 365, that's why I moved here. I moved here because I wanted to further my studies and I wanted to be able to really see what was possible. And I do believe that every single one of you can change the course of the direction that we're going, even if it's just by buying organic seeds and sprouting in your kitchen. You don't have to have land to feed yourself and to feed your family. So this journey that I've been on has really taken me in so many different directions. And actually, I ended up getting really sick. I had a root canal that pushed a bacterial infection into my brain, and I almost died. And if it weren't for Purium, I wouldn't be here today. So I am so grateful that I understand now that what we have here, these superfoods, the nutrition that we have, the gut health, the plant-based protein, the organic greens and veggies, the high antioxidant fruits, just in our basic core four, can change the course of somebody's future. And I don't believe in chronological age. I believe in biological age. And I have seen these products reverse aging and help people to repair their bodies. And I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't let you know that. And so I didn't get it in the beginning at all, because when you grow your own food and when you're juicing and when you're buying non-GMO and when you're used to preparing food and feeding people, supplements and powders don't make sense. So I didn't get it in the beginning. But through all of the things I was trying to do to repair my health because of how damaged my body had become from living on antibiotics for 9 months, that is really where Purium came in and really saved the day for me. And I have taken it on to be a part of this Million Mom movement, to reach out and educate people who aren't aware that if they're not making those purchases, if they're not supporting local farmers, if they're not growing their own food, if they're not buying organic and non-GMO, that they are potentially harming their health. And unfortunately, most people don't make great change until they are either educated or given a diagnosis. So I just want everybody to know, don't wait for the diagnosis to finally make the decision to invest into your health. It's what we do each and every single day that gives us that next step forward, that next day, that true longevity, that living a healthy, happy, free, functioning life, because we all deserve to thrive. I believe that everyone deserves to thrive and everyone can have access to these tools. I look at these superfoods as being tools, and I see Purium as being a vehicle for absolutely anyone to achieve whatever their goals happen to be, whether it's with health, whether it's with their weight, their performance, or with their wealth. And I'm really grateful to be able to be a brand partner with this company. My financial life has completely been transformed. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I never, ever, ever thought I would get involved with any type of network marketing, MLM, or reality. And I really don't see Purium as being that. I see us as being a manufacturer of the purest form of nutrition on the planet that is the easiest, most accessible, most affordable, portable, and shelf-stable food that you can get access to. And what we witnessed through this pandemic was people were not able to get food. And if you think that that's going away anytime soon, you're wrong, because where we are going and how we have been dumping, I don't even know how many hundreds of billions of gallons of glyphosate on our planet, that is not going away. And so we have soil depletion, we have huge industrial ag doing everything that they can to try to produce food for the least amount of money possible so that they can put it on the shelf for the longest amount of time possible. So we've gotten into this end of what we call the second industrial revolution, and we're moving into this third industrial revolution. And there's an incredible talk on YouTube on that. I can get you guys the link if you want to check it out. And what we are realizing is that each and every single one of us has the power to make great change, and it starts with us. It's that one thing, like, you know, when you're on the airplane and they say you put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then you put the oxygen mask on your kids, and then you put it on your friends and your family and your community and your county and your state and the world. And that is really the mission that we are on. We are on a mission to end human suffering, and it starts with each and every single one of us. And with all my education and everything that I've ever learned, this is the easiest way to make great change very quickly. So I know there's a big round circle that we just painted right there, a little samsara for you, Jody, but I'll go ahead and pause there and hand it back to you to see if you have any further questions. And I'll go ahead and check into the chat here in a second as well.
Okay, so I just want to say first that to everybody listening, you now know why we invited her on to do this talk today, because she knows so much about all of this. And I would love to tease that knowledge out of you a little bit more now. I would love you to compare and contrast the difference between conventional farming and the things that are on the shelves in the grocery store versus how our Purium and other companies like us, the organic farmers out there, how is what they are doing different, and what's the difference in sustainability between those two things?
Well, I don't see any sustainability in large industrial ag, period. And when I found out that Kauai was the largest open air testing for genetically modified seeds in the world, I freaked out. And so did everyone that was living here. And we marched down the street and we wrote a bill saying we want these guys out or they are going to have to disclose us. And they took us all the way to the federal government to sue us, saying that we didn't have the right to know what they were spraying on our island. We didn't have the right to know what the off drift that was going into the kids' schools, why children were falling over, nauseous, blacking out, had to be exited out of school. We didn't have the right to know. And you know what? As far as when it comes to my kids and as a mom, and even when it comes to my neighbors, I was in an uproar, because how can anyone get away with that? Because of money? Because you're $1 billion company? Because you have the rights? Because you rented property? Well, guess what? When these guys are done and they pull out, we're going to have to clean up the mess. And that goes from our Ahupua'a, which is basically from Mauka to Makai, so from the mountains to the ocean. Everything ends up in the ocean. And we've seen our reefs die, and we've seen kids get sick. And I even heard of nurses that were telling me stories of babies being born without brains and with their guts on the outsides of their body. So this is the mission at the end of the day, is that people don't know what they don't know. Because if everybody knew, they would not allow this to happen, because that's the one thing that unites my island, and it's called Ohana, and it's family. And when you talk about harming another person's family or their children, you can guarantee that they are going to lock arms regardless of their race, regardless of their economic opportunity, regardless of how they've been educated. People will stand together. And I think that is really, truly what we represent. So when you're talking about big $1 billion multinational, industrial, GMO, experimental, chemical farming, this is because they do believe that the more food that they make is how they're going to feed the world. Well, it's not true. It's just not. It's not true. Just because you're putting something in your mouth and it goes into your stomach, it doesn't make it food. So if you're eating genetically modified organisms, which are genetically predisposed and injected with a gene from another creature so that it can be resistant to being sprayed by glyphosate so that they can grow it without having to weed, you're missing the entire point of the ecology of our planet. And so if we look at our gut microbiome the same way as we look at the soil, then we have to have a plethora of happy little bugs, caterpillars and butterflies and, earthworms and all these good things. And that is why our gut microbiome is so important. And I see it as being a direct a direct relation to the soil health of our planet. So this is where I say every single one of you need to become gardeners, even if it's just in your kitchen, even if you're just sprouting food on your kitchen shelf. If you can, work your way out your front door. Can you make a garden bed? Can you put some pots out there? Can you start to be a part of making the change? And that is where Purium comes in, because what blew my mind about Purium is that we've had these relationships with these farmers for so long. And even though somebody says they're certified organic, that doesn't mean they're going to pass our testing protocols. And that really got my attention. So when you become a brand partner with our company, and when you move through what we call rank advancements, which are really just life advancements, when you move through these rank advancements, you get to actually come to Southern California and tour our 40,000 square foot manufacturing facility. Well, I got to meet our microbiologist, which is in-house, and I learned that every single ingredient runs through 5 tiers of quarantine before it even enters our building, and ends up in an infrared molecular scan for purity. There's nobody else that does that. I can't even do that with my garden. My garden may or may not pass just because of environmental toxicity, just because of the compost I happen to get from the other guy that, oh, it was, $40 for a bed load. Well, where did that come from? And did somebody spray that? And I know a lot of organic farmers, you guys, that use Roundup. It's sad, but they do. It's because it's cheap, and they're lazy, and they don't want to hire somebody to go weed or to actually go out there and take care of it. And our island is pervasive. Our county would rather pay one guy to ride around in a truck to spray grass, which isn't even going to kill it. It's just going to get ugly for a little while, and then all that glyphosate is going to wash its way into the ocean. And we've been dealing with this for such a long time, and it still hasn't changed. So until people get louder and start voting with their dollars and start making the noise that needs to be heard, then nothing is going to change. And this even comes down to if you live in an apartment. If you live in an apartment complex, you guys, people are spraying glyphosate. If you have kids that go to public schools, they are spraying glyphosate. It's everywhere. So we've got to get loud. We've got to take pictures. We've got to make noise. We've got to go to the county level, and we've got to work our way up, and we've got to make this stuff illegal, because how can anybody get away with continuing to contaminate the food supply? So the bigger picture here, you make people sick with the food. The people need medications to work on the sickness, okay? This is the loop. There's a lot of money involved here. And, sometimes some people don't even want to talk about this because we're being the squeaky wheel, and it can be a, slightly dangerous situation given certain circumstances. So we have to just move through the fear, and we just have to figure out, how can I empower myself first? And that is where I think Purium is the #1 key to success and sustainability, is because they've already done all the work for you. Like, I have a beautiful garden, you guys. I have 6 huge 4-foot by 12-foot beds in my front yard. Purium is still 85% of my diet. You know why? Because I don't want to cook and clean all day long. It just makes sense. When COVID hit, I went ahead and made a very large purchase because I knew that I could have those amino acids in my cupboard for as long as possible. And that if it came down to eating protein, that if I could only eat 1 amino acid a day, I would still be sustaining, and I would still be thriving, and I would still be surviving. So this is where we have to look at, this is not just about your daily groceries. This is also about sustainability, and this is also about economically empowering women and mothers and our company so that we can continue to make great change. And that's what I love about Purium, is like, I put my money into Purium. Purium feeds me. I help other people get fed, and then I get paid. And it is what I call perpetual cyclical abundance. And that's where I really believe that we have something here that is so special, that is worth protecting, and is worth getting loud about. So at the end of the day, I think industrial ag isn't going to be around for long, because I think people are going to stop buying it as soon as they realize that it's been poisoning them and their families for generations.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. And so these industrial farms are covered in poison, which is not only hurting the plants and hurting us, but it's destroying the soil. And so even the food that is coming up has no nutrition in it because all the nutrition in the soil has been chelated, in other words, stuck there by these poisons. We're spraying on it. So even if you're able to grow the plant doesn't have all the minerals and nutrients that it normally would have because we've completely degraded the soil, which is why that's not sustainable, because you won't be able to grow anything in it. At some point, it's just dead soil and nothing will grow in it. So talk about the nutrient density in Purium products, why that's so important, and how that affects not only your dollars and what you're paying because you're paying for nutrient density, but how that turns into a business that thrives for other people, and other people, how we win through helping people get healthy.
Yeah. There's a term that I've been thinking about recently that I want to share with you all. And this is what I believe that Purium is at the end of the day. I believe that what we have is homeopathic nutrition, because what we are getting is so much more in so much less of a package. And it's not always about caloric density. It's not always about the physical amount of food that you are consuming. What it ends up being is, are you flooding your body with phytonutrients? Are you alkalizing your blood? Are you able to replicate your cells on a massive scale so that you can detoxify and nourish your organs so that you can function at a higher level? And this is where I think that the whole piece around obesity, which makes me absolutely nuts, is if somebody tells me that they're genetically predisposed to obesity, I say, no, you're actually, you're genetically predisposed to eating the same food that your parents and your grandparents ate. That's the issue here, okay? Human beings are not meant to have these huge, bloated, inflamed guts on their bodies. We are meant to be these lean, healthy, flexible. You know, I love when Dave talks about the paleo man, because it's you're busy, you're doing you're grazing, right? Your little berries, little nuts, little, you know, piece of green here, you know, you're taking in little bits of nutrition over longer periods of time. And then maybe at the end of the day, you've got one big pot of soup that the whole family comes around and consumes. And so I like to look at, what if the power goes out tomorrow? What if the water gets shut off? What if I have to grow my own food or I have to forage for it? Can you? And most people, the answer is no. Most people, the answer is no. And so this is where the solution comes in to get this rainbow of foods, which is what we really have. We have this arc of nutrition that covers every single basis that the human body needs to thrive. You can live 100% off of the nutrition that we have. Then food can be for fun. And that's where I look at it. Like, if I'm going to cook, I'm going to do it because I want to do it, because I want to enjoy the process of it, not because I have to do it 3 times a day. And I love the idea of when people say, well, how long do I need to eat Purium for? And I'm like, well, how long do you need to buy bread and eggs and milk and butter and bacon? How long do you need to buy that for? It's food, people. It's not just about transformation. It's about sustainability in your kitchen. And that's what I mentioned earlier, the portability, the shelf stability, the ease, and the affordability. And I can guarantee you, every single mom on the planet, if you say, hey, what if I could help you save 3 hours a day cooking and cleaning? Would you be interested in learning more? They're going to say yes. And that's what happened to me when I ordered my first Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. By the time I got to day 8, I was like, I've got all this extra time. And that was the one thing I was looking for. It was the one thing I was praying for. I was like, how come I can never get all the dishes done? How come I can never get all the laundry done? How come I have no time for myself? And so here, this postal service box shows up on my front door and gives me the one thing that I wanted more than anything, which was time. So when you have time, then you can figure out how you can help others get time. And when you can create this release of stress, and when you can find that place of homeostasis, not only in your body, but in your spirit, in your mind, in your emotional well-being, and in your bank account, this is the bigger picture that we're talking about. Purium can fulfill all 5 of those aspects that every single person is looking at, and we've all been whacked out of balance. We've been programmed to think that we need these things, and there are companies out there that pay a lot of money in order for you to believe that you need these things, and then you get into this habitual pattern, and all of a sudden you're in your 50s and your 60s and you're wondering why you're sick. So this is where we have to make the change now, and this is where we come in to save the day. And that's what I love about this mission. That's what I love about these products. That's what I love about what we have here, is because we lead by example. We put the oxygen mask on ourselves first. We change our life. People start noticing that we're changing our life, and eventually they're going to ask you what you're doing. And they may not get it in the beginning, just like I didn't. I laughed in Skylar's face when she shared Purium with me, okay? I thought it was the biggest joke I had ever heard. I was like, girlfriend, you know I'm an organic farmer. I grow my own food and I'm an herbalist, right? Don't be showing me your powders and your pills, whatever. But guess what? A year later, when I was on my deathbed, I humbly crawled on my arms and knees to her and said, please help me. I think I'm gonna die. So I don't want anybody to get to that point. Don't wait for the diagnosis to see what we have. Peel back the veil. We have nothing to lose. We have a 60-day money back guarantee. Like, there's nothing to lose here. There's only everything to gain. So are you willing to invest into your health? Are you willing to invest into a movement that's changing the world? Are you willing to share this with others? Because if you are, you can win. And we're here to help you. We're here to show you how. We're here to show you the path. And it's up to each and every single one of you to decide, what do you want your future to look like? Because if you can't see it and you don't imagine it, you're not going to create it. But I can tell you that I saw where I wanted to go, and we've created it, and we're just getting started. So I'm really excited about what the next 5 years looks like, the next 10 years, the next 20 years. And I really hope that all of you see how important it is to put your money into this vehicle, because then we're going to feed you, and then you can in turn feed others, and you can then in turn feed your bank account of your future. Because when you don't have to worry about money anymore, you can do the things that really matter, and you can get out there and you can change your community.
Exactly on point, right? And as you are taking care of yourself and taking care of others and empowering your bank account, you're also saving the planet, because the way that Purium products are farmed are sustainable, because it works with the environment instead of trying to force the environment to do what we want to. There's balance, there's homeostasis. We keep coming back to this idea of self-transformation leading to balance and homeostasis. And that is true for the way our farmers farm. It is true for the way we feel in our bodies when we eat this food. And it is true for our economic growth as we see this vision and where it can take us. There are some questions over here in the chat. And so I want to give people some time to ask if you have any questions for her. Let's open it up. Let me put my screen back on the Brady Bunch view here so I can see you guys. Let's just open it up. I think that's the easiest way, because if I start going through the chat, that's going to take forever. Are there any questions you guys have for Raven today? Anything you want to ask? Go ahead and unmute yourself and hop on popcorn style.
I have a question.
Hey, Pete.
So I've been on the Core 4 for probably about 4 or 5 years. So I would like to know, what, besides the Core 4, what are your top 3 to 5 products that you eat that you feel are most important?
I wish you guys could see my shelf, because if you could see my shelf, then you would just know that there is probably at least 35 different products on my shelf at most given time. So I, without a doubt, attribute a lot of my health recovery to the Immunomax. And I take the Immunomax with the C from Nature and the Virusure in combination with my aminos, and I'll actually fast on that, because it gives my body an opportunity to reboot without weighing me down. can't live without the can't beat this mixed with white American ginseng and ionic elements, especially if you're a busy person like me. I run several companies. I'm a mom. I have a 5-acre farm. I am very busy and I need that to go, go, go. My morning shake every single day has 2 scoops of Appleberry Power Shake, 1 scoop of Super Meal Love. And I also throw in the ionic elements and the white American ginseng and a big fat scoop of chlorella. What else? Let's see. Oh my goodness, you guys. My new favorite at night is a warm cup of water with my apothecary and daily fiber blend. Sometimes I don't even have dinner. That's my like meal before I go to bed because it just nurtures my body. I sleep really deep. I wake up really refreshed and I just feel good. And that's just a handful of what we use. It really does depend on how I'm feeling, you know, like you tailor yourself for how you're feeling. If you're tired and you need to rest more, you know, up your cherry. Like I'll do 1 to 2 ounces. I don't do a tablespoon. I'll like, you know, bring that up. Tropic oil. I stopped buying all other oils. I only use our tropic oil. I don't buy olive oil. I don't buy hemp oil. I don't buy flax oil. Don't buy avocado oil. I buy our tropic oil by the case because it's so incredibly good and healthy for you on every single level, inside and out. Coconut oil for days. Let's see here. What else? I would say that those are probably my main go-tos. Oh, advanced probiotic and digestive enzyme, advanced probiotic and enzyme advantage. When I do choose to eat for fun, I'm not always vegan. And when I do, I always add those in because it just helps my body to digest whatever I'm playing around with in the kitchen at that time. So I feel like those are a good baseline. But what you'll start to find is that when I went to my first Diamond Club, we asked everybody that was in the room, how many products do you take a day? And almost every single Diamond was taking 7 or more. And that's the piece of investing back into your business. So when I first started my business and I went public on social media and I shared my story, my inbox exploded and I made like $3,000 in my first month. And so guess what I did? I put that money back into my business. And I was like, I want everything. I want to try everything. What do we have? What can I order? What can I buy? Juice bar in a bag. Oh my God. It is $11 for a juice on this island. $11. So when you talk about juice bar in a bag, you can make, I don't even know how many hundreds of combinations, and it's around $1 a serving. So just think about these things of being able to not only empower yourself, but let the kids play. My 9-year-old eats 5 aminos every single morning, chews them up like candy, drinks it down with water, no big deal. He knows he can make a shake whenever he wants. And we get creative in the kitchen. You know, we make like fudgesicles with tropic oil and avocado and MVP, chocolate MVP Sport. Like we make energy nuggets and, you know, add all kinds of good like goji berries and walnuts and honey and almond butter. And then we use Super Meal Love and we use Daily Fiber Blend. So how can you start integrating these things into the kitchen as well? And what you're going to find is that there's a lot of creativity that can happen here. So don't be afraid to play with what we have here. And you just might find that you start feeling and looking your best and you're saving a ton of money. Because that blew my mind when I calculated our bank account and I looked at Robert and I was like, we saved like $1,700 on food this month. Not going out, not drinking, not eating, not buying all of the other stuff. I was like, wow, so you can make money and save money? This is interesting. So this is the piece where we get to really bring our own creative genius into what this is and to share this lifestyle with others. So have fun exploring, Pete. There's lots of good stuff in there.
And 1 new product a month, guys, unless you can do more, and then always do more. Are there any other questions for her? We've got about 4 minutes before I need to toss it over to my fellow council members. So any other questions for Raven?
Hi. I'm just wondering if the Zoom is being recorded, because I would love to share this particular Zoom. I know on iLearn there's recordings for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday Zooms, but I didn't see a Million Moms movement on there. So is this being shared?
It is being recorded. It will be in iLearn. It will also be in the Million Mom Movement official group page on Facebook. And the Million Mom Movement also has a YouTube channel, and we post all the Fierce Fridays on that YouTube channel. So that's going to be your most public route to share it with people. Anyone else?
So there was a question on how much do I spend a day? And I'm just going to say bare minimum core 4, $6 a day, bare minimum. The ultimate lifestyle transformation is $11 a day. And you can replace 2 organic superfood meals per day. So it's about $5.50 per meal. So that's the baseline. Everything from there goes up. And that's the awesome part of becoming a brand partner, is because then when you start sharing, your money that you put into Purium never comes out of your pocket. It comes out of what you've earned, right? So that's that perpetual cyclical abundance I was talking about. I don't think products have ever come out of my pocket since I started as a brand partner, because I just was sharing with other people and helping them get healthy along the way.
Yes,
There was another
somebody
question?
just noticed that it's a business expense too, so you get to write it off on your taxes.
Correct.
Wins all the way around. Can't find any downsides today. We've got 2 minutes. Who else? Too many pages, so hop on off of mute if you want to jump in. Anyone? Kendrina, go for it.
Well, thank you. Maybe Raven can speak to this. Can you speak a little bit to how they retain the nutritional value in terms of how they, from when they, well, first of all, just quickly on the peak nutritional, like that window, and how Purium does it when it's in their peak nutritional potency, but then also how no heat. I figured like you're someone who's probably really great to speak to that. So do you mind sharing?
I don't know if I can answer that question in 2 minutes, but I will do my best. So I have had the pleasure of being able to see Dave Sandoval speak probably about 100 times in my career with Purium. So what I do know about our juices, our greens, our grasses, anything that we're harvesting straight from the field, and the beautiful thing about how we harvest from the field is it doesn't matter what it looks like, because it's not going to a farmer's market to sit on a table to look like perfect produce. We're harvesting at peak nutritional value, right? Straight out of the field, right to our juicing system. And we juice at, I believe, 60 degrees. And so everything's going through our juicer at 60 degrees. And then we have these live dehydration towers where our juices bring up to the top and the juice falls from the top at the 60 degrees while we have warm air rising at about 88 degrees. And through that process, it's removing the moisture content. So we're holding on to all of that nutritional value. It's enzymatically intact. And when that powder reaches the bottom of our tower, gets sucked up into vacuums and works its way to our facility, where it runs through 5 tiers of testing to infrared molecular scan for purity. There will never be a GMO, a pesticide, an herbicide, a binder, a filler, a color, no additives. You're getting the pure plant material. And talk about efficacy. We were talking about saving on packaging, shipping, refrigeration. The fact that we have this live dehydration that is enzymatically intact, so it's a natural preservation without preservatives, it's really special. It's really, really special.
Indeed it is. Thank you.
That was perfect. And I'm like, I'm going to have to watch this 15 times so I can say it the way you did. You're brilliant. I appreciate this so much. I appreciate, guys. I have to be full disclosure here. I messed up my times with her, and I'm in Mountain Time and she's in Hawaii. And I was like, yeah, it's 12 Mountain Time, but I wrote 12 Pacific Time. So she had to get up an hour earlier than she thought she did in order to be here. And here she is anyway. And so I apologize for that, but thank you for your grace on that. But it's really early in Hawaii, and here she is on camera. So we appreciate that a lot. We appreciate all the knowledge that you have shared today. And so, so grateful. And with that, I am going to pass this over. Rebecca, am I passing it to you or Carmela? I don't have we have it written up and it's not in front of me. So whoever's going next, it's your turn.
I'll jump right in. And I had a question actually to piggyback off of Kendrina's question to Raven, was based on that specific processing, right, of how we dehydrate with minimal heat, then our Prop 65 concern with lead by nature couldn't possibly have that in our products, correct?
Prop 65, you guys, is something that I think is just a complete joke, just to be completely honest. So if you need more details on Prop 65, we have an entire long list of articles and things that you can reference. I don't want to really go into it into detail, but it's just something the state of California felt like instigating, and why you see Prop 65 warnings on like a Starbucks wall, and then it's on our Purium Power Shake. It's just silly. We're just going through the loops of bureaucracy. So that's my personal opinion.
Thank you, Raven. And I do like to bring these types of topics up in the Million Mom movement because we are very much an activist part of the company, and it's a concern for moms. And I know that we're talking about our purity. So, well, thank you. So I am going to share today about our newest campaign. So a year ago, Stephanie Dawn, our chair, was able to get on stage and start a different campaign, which is the We Are the Million Mom movement hashtag. And that has grown. I mean, we have, as a council, grown that as well, with Naiva Flore, who's excellent with our social media, and she's really been driving this home, throughout the field. So we actually 2 weeks ago started the I Am the Million Mom movement. And what I love about this is that all of this great content that we discussed today with Raven, with Jody, with our council, we get to ask you, are you building a brand on social media with what we have as our advocacy? If you are, drop a 3 in the comments below. I'm curious to see how many of us are actually using our voices, going public, because that is a big part of growing our business, but some might be doing it more one-on-one. I'm just curious to see how many in this community are. Wow. Okay, and some I found in my own downline have said, well, I don't have a Facebook account growing, but now I have a reason. So guys, let's talk about the reason. When we are part of our superfood manufacturing company and we ourselves love it, we are using the products and we want to share it. And this is the gift card marketing system, right? We have a vehicle. We can do this seamlessly without the sale, without the spam. We have lifestyle education. And without us using our voices, sharing with people our advocacy, our activism. We have our organization, the Million Mom Movement, to create the container to help you with this. So we ask you, take a stand in helping us share with your people, with your community, your networks, who we may not know, what are you doing to take a stand to take glyphosate out of our food system? What types of steps are you doing? We're lifestyle educators. That's what I loved most about Purium, was that there isn't a comprehensive nutritional system with resources like us. So we're asking you, hashtag I Am the Million Mom Movement. And what I loved 2 weeks ago, what we had done at the end of our call was we went around, we opened the mic to hear, what are people doing? What are they taking a stand for? And how are they doing it? How are they playing it out in their families, in their homes? And what I want to see is a mass impact ripple effect happen. How do we do this well? Through social media. How much quicker can it pass through when people can share it? If it's so good, the post is so good, people are going to share it. It'll go viral. Let's hope for that. And if you hashtag it, we're going to be compiling it and putting it together on our official, and we're going to have social proof. How do we know that something works? Social proof. We need that, guys. We are the petitions. We are voices in our communities that we need to find a way, take all this energy that we've learned today and put it into activism. Don't just be angry, be upset, be emotional, and understand all this great science is there to back us up when people ask us, but show people, what are you actually doing? I'm a mom. I have a lot of things I can share and show. So I just take her on my camera and be like, oh, let me snap this. Let me compile it when the kids are asleep and I'll post it. So, and really schedule it. You can schedule it out going out. Be strategic. We're business people. We're empowerment leaders. We're educators. And if you're not participating with advocacy through social media, here's a great reason why. So I welcome and invite you all to really take into consideration this activism with us. I am the Million Mom Movement.
Excellent, Carmela. Thank you so much. I just want to piggyback on that a little bit, because what I want to offer to you, because this is the business focused Zoom, right? I want to offer you, each one of you, invite you to make a post that is business forward. Okay? What has your Purium business given you? Are you able to stay at home? Do you have time freedom? Do you have location freedom? How's it affecting your family? We have brand partners in our company who've retired their husbands. If that is your dream, to retire your husband or to retire your mate, then I want to see those. I want to see those posts on Instagram, on Facebook. I mean, lead with the food if that's really where your heart is. But for those of you who might be really knowing that the business is what you know you need to be leading with, I want to invite you all to take a risk, be bold, and lead with the business. And we are here backing you up and supporting you every step of the way, because leading with the business and enrolling brand partners into your organization is what's going to grow this movement. So I want to say thank you so much, Raven, for being here with us today. It has been an absolute honor to listen to you, to be in your frequency again, sister. It's been a while. And just, you know, yeah, huge hugs, huge hugs. Please come back again and bring your team and bring your wisdom. Your voice is very much needed in this community. We love you and we thank God for you, God, Goddess, the universe, for the stand that you are and how you represent the Million Mom movement. So many blessings to you and your family, Raven. Jody, thank you so much for being you, and happy birthday to you tomorrow. And so please come back next week. What we're doing next week is we're going to be, it'll be product focused. I was glad that we had some of those products flying at the end of Raven's interview. It'll be product focused. Each council member, we're going to be sharing our favorite products, and you're going to be able to ask questions about products and get information. So go ahead, let your friends and family know that we are meeting next Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard. And, you know, bring 2 friends. That's how we're growing this movement. And please remember that back in January, we started with maybe 6 or 7 people in January. And this week we had 80 at the top. We had 140 last week with Dave Sandoval. We are growing this movement. It's happening. All right. Many blessings to you all. Have a beautiful weekend. Go out and share that good green word. All right. Peace out, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much. Awesome.